Matt Parker and the British Museum had collaborated to discuss some older civilizations and mathematical relations, specifically with unit fractions. And in the discussion section of one of the videos, people were talking about dividing a segment into unit fractions, fractional pieces, and I want to look at some of those constructions. Really interested in geometry, and I love doing these types of constructions, so I want to look at constructing some of these things. One of the historical topical number systems was the sexagesimal system, which is the base 60 system. 60 is really nice because the number 60 can be divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, along with some other numbers. But these are what we can use to make some nice unit fractions, like a half, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. So it's nice to have this arithmetic progression, and then it's nice to have these nice unit fractions that come in succession. So the very first segment here, I have about an 8 centimeter segment here. We can easily do a half. So it's pretty well known how to make a half. You put your compass point on one end of your segment. You extend your scribe end beyond what you believe is the halfway point. It doesn't have to be exact. It's still going to work out. And you create an arc above and below the segment. You flip to the other side and you do the same procedure. So you create these little X's here. And then you can come in here with your straight edge and you can create a mark here, and now you have bisected the segment. This is the halfway point. So this section here is a half of a segment. So if this 8 centimeters was your unit segment, then this should be 4 centimeters. It's half of your unit segment. And this, of course, doesn't have to be 8 centimeters. It can be any segment that you want to start with. We have this nice way of taking that unit segment, whatever you've defined as your unit segment, and creating a half. We're going to go ahead and bisect each side of this as well using the same procedure. So we want to be beyond what we believe is the halfway point. Going to readjust my pair of compasses here, and we're going to make an arc above and below. Flip to the other side, above, below, and I'm going to do that on the other side. So I'm just going to flip over here and do this, and then I'm going to bring my straight edge in here, and we're going to line it up with those intersections and mark our segment. So now let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I now have a quarter of our unit segment here. So I can easily create a half. I can create a fourth. Of course, if I bisect each of these again, I can create an eighth. So really, I have a method here for creating 2 to the n sections here. So I have a method for these unit fractions of 2 to the n. So this takes care of our 1/2, and our 1/4. So let's look at something else. Even though 1/6 is an even number, it's not of this 1/2 to the n form, so we have not created this one yet. Let's look at trisection. So let's see if we can create 1/3. To do this one, one of the common techniques is to start out by from one end of your segment, create an angle here, and then we're going to copy this angle down below the segment as well. So we're going to go through that copy procedure. So opening your compass, we're going to put the point of the compass on the vertex and create an arc, and then flip to the other side of the segment and create the same arc. Then put the point on the segment and close your compass until you have the scribe end on the intersection. And then you're going to flip around and put the point on this intersection of the arc and the original segment and create another mark down here. Now, connecting this end of the original segment through this intersection here, we should have created this same angle here. And I want this extended out beyond the segment just like I had this one. So now that I have that, we want to mark off 3 spaces. And I'm going to I want to use my existing arc just because I've already drawn it, but you don't have to. So there's 2, and then 3. And then down here, this should be the same measure. 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to connect the last one to the vertices here for our angles. And then connect these intersections here. All right, what we've created here is really a parallelogram, and we can come back in here and we can use the compass to kind of verify that we've gotten the measurement that we wanted. Also, in the construction of this, we kind of have a way to verify it if you wanted to put together a proof, because we have this nice triangle in here and we have these parallel sides. So this triangle and this triangle and this triangle and this triangle are all going to be able to be shown to be proportional triangles. So you can argue some proportionality in here, potentially put together a proof like that. This technique for trisecting can potentially be used for other things. So we want to just go ahead and notice that we've gotten 1/3. So what else could we do? Well, we could bisect each of these thirds and get our 1/6. So just like we bisected up here, we can bisect each of these sections and go from 1/3 to 1/6. So the last thing that we have to demonstrate is that we can do 1/5. Again, I have my unit segment that I had before. I've created an angle here, and then I've replicated that angle down here. So I'm going to create a parallelogram again, just like I did for the third, only this time I want 1/5. This time I am going to come in a little behind my original construction mark just because I want to fit this in here. Other adjustments can be made if you weren't trying to demonstrate this. One, two, three, four, five. Now I went beyond my segment on both sides, but that's okay because this is extendable. I just need to extend out. All right, and then the same thing that I did before, I am going to connect this last mark to the end of my segment to the last mark, and then come back in here and connect these successive intersections. All right, again, I have the big parallelogram, and I've created these little parallelograms in here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this section here is 1/5. The section we had up here was 1/3, using the same construction technique. So there's really two construction techniques that I used here, and used the paracompasses and the straight edge for this construction. So bisecting was important, and then this idea of building parallelograms was important. Hopefully you found this enjoyable. I enjoy these types of geometric constructions. Try to find some mathematics to share with someone else in your part of the world. Cheerful calculations.